So, this video is about the Fender Acoustisonic guitars. Do not buy them. They are filled with design flaws that Fender knows about. They don't care about you. They don't care about me. They care about their bottom dollar. They have a 2-year warranty on those guitars. Does not cover design flaws. Little backstory to how this video started. A couple months ago, I decided I was going to make a trade with a friend for Fender Acoustisonic. He had a Fender Acoustisonic. I do a lot of looping shows. If you go to my YouTube channel, you can see a lot of the videos, the other videos I have. I will bill myself as a super looper, supermarket troubadour, whatever the hell I can to try to bring people in. You know, it is what it is. The Acoustisonic guitars, they seem like the perfect fit for me. Now, the guitar that I wanted was the Jazzmaster because of the sounds it had. It would work for the applications that I was going to use it for. So, I had a Gibson J45. I know a lot of y'all are going to sit there and say, I can't believe you're going to trade a J45 for it. But it had a need. It's a tool. I use this. This is my profession. I'm a full-time musician. So I was using this as a tool for a job that I perform weekly on a regular basis. The problem with the guitar is the design flaws. So Fender, in all their glory, has decided that they're going to tell people that this thing's made in the custom shop. And by all intents and purposes, it probably is. They're going to tell them it's this great guitar. What they don't tell you is that the top piece of wood that they put on the guitar is a little thin piece of veneer. There's absolutely no bracing in between the top piece of guitar and where the bridge comes up. So what happened on this guitar, for instance, so I get it home, you know, as I'm making it, I'm trying to do a quick look over the guitar because I was actually getting married the next day. So I was in a rush trying to get this done so that I can make this thing because I've been trying to make this trade for about a week. And I was told it was in perfect condition. Turns out it wasn't. Not the seller's fault. He's a friend of mine. He traded back. I've got my Gibson back. You know, the guitar just turns out to be not right for me because as I was going to set it up, because, you know, I pick up the guitar and it's not set up right. Strings are wrong, so I take it home. Get married, a few days go by, I'm not able to really mess with the guitar, and I finally sit down and I start to set it up to suit my style. As I'm trying to lower the action and set the neck, can't figure out why I can't get the strings low enough. As I start to inspect the guitar, I realize that the piece of veneer that Fender has decided to put on the top of this guitar is starting to pull up. Now, at first I think, okay, this might just be this guitar. So as this piece of veneer started to pull up, I realized there's no bracing underneath this piece of wood. I look at the guitar, you can start to see where the bridge actually starts to peel from both sides. So there's obviously design flaw. There's something going on that's allowing the bridge to pull up in the center because there's not enough support or bracing for this cheap piece of veneer that Fender has put on a $2,000 guitar. So I contact Fender about it. Fender says, well, you got to take it to one of our certified special Fender repair guys. Take it to him. So he sends all the information down to Fender. Fender, about a week later, sends me an email saying that it's not covered under the warranty because the warranty is 2.5 years old. The guitar is 2.5 years old. So, 2.5-year-old guitar. Fender decides it's out of warranty. They're not gonna honor any warranty repairs. The repair guy doesn't even know how to repair it. He doesn't know how to go back in and flatten the top and make it so it's suitable without putting screws into the top of the guitar. Now, this thing's not a great acoustic guitar, but with the electronics that are built in it from Fishman, it's got its purpose where it can actually be used for it to suit my needs. So as I'm talking to the repair guy, I also come to find out that the electronics in there are powered by a lithium-ion battery. The lithium-ion battery is supplied to Fender by Fishman because all the electronics are Fishman electronics. Okay, not a big issue. Except when I talk to the repair guy, he goes, oh, you know, I've had tons of issues with these guitars. The electronics go bad because the battery goes bad. In order to get the battery, you call up Fender. Fender doesn't have the battery. Fender doesn't know how to get the battery. They then refer you to Fishman. Fishman has to send you the battery. Now, he said there's people that have had 5 or 6 replacements of these batteries since these guitars came out. So that's one issue. The other issue is I was talking about, the one that was with this guitar. The bridge is pulling up from the body because there's not enough support on the top to keep the bridge down because the amount of tension that's on the strings. It's pulling up from the body. It is allowing the edge of the bridge to come up from the body to come unglued. And it's making it so that it's unplayable. And after 2.5 years, Fender doesn't care about you, or they don't care about me. They think as a professional musician, you should have to buy a new guitar every 2 years, which is complete BS. I've got the emails here to show it. Now, we're musicians, and these are tools of our trade. This is our job. Fender thinks because you're a musician, your money is not as good. It's not as important. They got their $2,000 from you. They don't care. This is corporate greed that doesn't care about the working man, in this case, musicians. Now, as I started to investigate this video, as you'll see from the pictures I would provide, I went to the local guitar center because they had a couple of these used Acoustisonics in there. And I started noticing it's not just the Jazzmasters. The same issue is happening on the Telecaster. It's happening on the Stratocaster version of it. You look at these guitars, the thin piece of veneer is pulling up from the bridge. Where the bridge is, where the strings meet the body, there is not enough support. It is a well-known issue, and Fender doesn't care. So, needless to say, in the past I have bought Fender products, but I will never buy a Fender product again. I've almost switched exclusively over to Music Man guitars by Ernie Ball. It's a much better company. Now, if you don't know anything about Music Man was a company that was, again, started by Leo Fender. He took what he learned from Fender and did a lot of upgrades, made much better guitars, eventually sold it to Ernie Ball. Ernie Ball's been putting out phenomenal guitars, even their import lines. I've got one of those Sterling basses, and for $289, you can't beat that thing. I mean, it sounds great, plays great. I'm not a great bass player yet, so I'm not going to buy a really nice, expensive Music Man. I'm going to buy the cheap one until I really learn the bass. But back to what the main point of this video. Do not buy the Fender Acoustisonic. You will be disappointed. You will get to the point where one day you're trying to play this guitar that wasn't built to last for years. This guitar that was probably in some CEO's mind decided that we're going to make on the outside what looks like a great guitar. But in a couple years, they're going to have to buy another one. And a couple years later, they're going to have to buy another one. Instead, not realizing that a couple years from now, that person's going to be pissed off that they spent $2,000 on a stupid guitar that has manufactured defects, that has design flaws because you're too crappy of a company to stand by your products. That being said, thank you and good night.